Happy Monday, mis amigos. Welcome to another week of poetry. I'm so excited to continue to explore this type of writing with you this week. But before we get started, let's go ahead and take some deep breaths in and let them out so that we can get oxygen in our brain. One of my favorites that I like to do is the roller coaster breath. And we've done this a couple of times, but remember, you are going to breathe in once you're going up the roller coaster and breathe out once you're going down. So go ahead and hold your hand up here like this. And you can do it to the side. Mine's going to be like this so I can show you. And we're going to take some deep breaths in and out to get our brains ready to learn. Here we go. Breathe in. Let it out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Let it out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. I usually like to take a second just to close my eyes and make sure that I get my breath all regulated. And so just give me a second while I get myself ready and while you get yourself ready as well to learn. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a look at our writing goal today. What is it that we're going to be working on? Our objective is I can hear and discuss poems and explore figurative language in poems. I would like you to repeat this objective with me so that I know and you know what we're going to be working on in writing today. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. I can hear and discuss poems and explore figurative language in poems. Okay, great friends. Now we're ready to get started. We have done so much with poetry the last few weeks. I want to take a second to remind us what is it that we've been doing with poetry and how is that going to help us with doing the work this week? Well, the first week we wrote poems about verbs or movement words, right? Like swimming, running, talking. And the second week we wrote poems about objects that make sounds. We used automatopoeia. Well, as you know, we have used nouns, people, places, or things that we've included in our poems. And we've also used verbs or action words or movement words to show what's happening in the poem and for our readers to visualize. Well, this week we are going to continue to learn about figurative language, and we're going to write poems as well by using everything that we have learned, plus learning new information. You have been listening to different kinds of poems. You have been making lists of words. You have been creating poems. Well, the last 2 weeks, we have been using figurative language in our poems, and some examples are rhyming. We have heard in our poems some rhyming. That's figurative language. We have used automatopoeia words, or sound words, right? Zap, bang, zip, pow. And we've also used imagery, specific words to build a mental image in our readers' brains from our poems. Well, this week we get to use more figurative language like metaphors, similes, and personification to describe things in our poems. And I'm going to go back and we're going to review these elements of figurative language just because I described them the first week of poetry, and that was a while back, and I just want to make sure that we know what they mean and how do we move forward with using them this week. Okay, the first one is metaphor. Can you say metaphor? Great. A metaphor compares two unlike things by saying one is the other. The example that they give here is that the little girl is a night owl. She is a night owl. They use the word is to compare two unlike things, the girl and the night owl. All right. The next one is simile. Can you say simile? Okay. In similes, we use the words like or as to compare two unlike things. The example they give here is, he is as quiet as a mouse. The boy is being compared to a mouse, two unlike things, but they're saying that because the mouse is so quiet that the boy is also quiet. So they're comparing the boy to a quiet mouse. Personification. Can you say personification? Okay. Giving human qualities to non-human things. The example they give here is, the angry ocean swallowed the tiny ship. Okay? Now, the ocean is not human, but it must have been so big, right? There must have been a storm, or there might have been waves, that they're using the word angry to show that it has a human quality. Okay? And that is what personification is. They're giving human qualities to non-human things, like the ocean. Today we're going to read two poems, and we're going to start off with the poem called Sleeping Bag, just like this one right here. But before we get ready to read this poem and listen to it and discuss it, I would like you to think about this question. When have you slept in a sleeping bag? I can think of a time that I've slept in a sleeping bag. When you have an idea, show me a silent thumb. And go ahead and share with your partner. Pause this video so that you are able to share your ideas with your partner. Thank you, poets, for sharing your ideas with your partner. Now we're going to listen and discuss the poem Sleeping Bag. But before we do, I want you to become familiar with some words that we're going to run across in the poem when you listen today. Okay? The first one is wriggle. Can you say wriggle? When you wriggle, you wiggle like a worm. The second word is scooch. Can you say scooch? That's when you move quickly up and down or back and forth. Someone can ask me, can you please scooch over if I'm sitting on a bench? Then all I have to do is just move over to the side or the other side, depending on where I'm at. The next word is flop. Can you say flop? That's when you fall or drop heavily. And the last word on our list is cocoon. Can you say cocoon? It's a soft case made by a caterpillar to use as a shelter or a home while it changes into a butterfly. So you're going to come across these words today when you listen to the poem. I'm going to read the poem 2 times. And I would like you to go ahead and close your eyes because I want you to visualize. I want you to build a mental image using the words that you are listening to in the poem. Are you ready to get started? Okay, here we go. Go ahead and close your eyes, and if it helps you, bend your head down like this a little bit. The poem is called Sleeping Bag by Christine O'Connell George. It is so cold outside. I'm getting dressed inside my sleeping bag. I wriggle, scooch, scrunch, and jiggle. Flop, front flips, back flips. I'm a caterpillar in a cozy cloth cocoon that zips. I'm going to read this poem one more time. Here we go. Keep your eyes closed. It's so cold outside. I'm getting dressed inside my sleeping bag. I wriggle, so she's moving like a worm. Scooch, moving quickly up and down or back and forth. Scrunch and jiggle. Flop, she falls or drops heavily. Front flips, back flips. I'm a caterpillar in a cozy cloth cocoon that zips. Friends, go ahead and open your eyes. We're going to go ahead and think about this question that I'm going to ask you next, and then we're going to get ready to share with our partners. Here we go. When the poet says, I'm a caterpillar, does she mean that she's actually really a caterpillar? What does she mean by that? I'm going to read that one more time, and I want you to think about it in your brain. When the poet says, I'm a caterpillar, does she mean that she's actually really a caterpillar? What do you think she means by that? When you have an idea, show me a silent thumb. Go ahead and pause this video right now so you can pair up with your partner and share your ideas. We listened to the poem Sleeping Bag 2 times, and we can see that the author Christine is comparing the little girl in a sleeping bag to a caterpillar in a cocoon. And sometimes poets do that. They compare one thing to another thing. And on this line right here where it says, I'm a caterpillar, that's a metaphor. It's comparing two unlike things by saying one is the other. So the girl is being compared to a caterpillar. Remember, sometimes poets compare one thing to another thing. Poets sometimes compare one thing to another. So here's my question to you. How is the girl in her sleeping bag like a caterpillar in a cocoon? What does the girl do that is like what a caterpillar does? How is the girl in her sleeping bag like a caterpillar in a cocoon? And what does the girl do that is like what a caterpillar does? Go ahead and share with your partner when you are ready. Pause this video. Thank you for sharing your ideas with your partners. Let's go back to these two questions. How is the girl in her sleeping bag like a caterpillar in a cocoon? And what does the girl do that is like what a caterpillar does? I had a chance to jot down some of your ideas as I listened to you discuss with your partner. And some of the ideas that I wrote down were, the girl moves like a caterpillar moves. So thinking about the movement. The girl in the sleeping bag looks like a caterpillar. The girl is changing in her sleeping bag like caterpillars change in their cocoons. Thank you for your ideas, friends. If the girl in the sleeping bag can be like a caterpillar, I'm wondering what this stapler might be like. So there's a picture on here that you are looking at that's a stapler, and I also have one here, and I just opened it, okay? And doing this movement, okay? So I'm going to notice how it looks like and think about what it reminds me of. So I know it's like a mouth shape. If I open it, kind of reminds me of an alligator, I would say, when an alligator opens up its mouth like this. It also reminds me of a bird, kind of like the beak here, or the long bill that they have when they're pecking at something. And it also kind of reminds me of a robot. It's black around here, it's shiny, and it can hurt you if I close it up and can use the staple to staple stuff up. So I've noticed what the stapler looks like and have discussed with you what it reminds me of. So let's go ahead and put all of this information together. On the previous page, I shared with you what the stapler reminded me of and what it looked like. And on this page here, you can see I wrote down a stapler is. And I'm writing down what the stapler is like. So a stapler is an alligator. It reminds me of having a long mouth. And the sharp teeth are the staples that come out of it. And I know that alligators go chomp and they bite. Okay? It also reminds me of a bird. It has a long bill and it goes peck, peck, peck. A stapler is like a robot. It is black, shiny, and it can hurt people. It's scary. When I was looking at my stapler today, I noticed how the object is shaped. So I kind of took a second to think about, what does it look like? How is it shaped? And I said it's shaped like a bird. It's shaped like an alligator, right? What does the movement remind you of? So I know when I open up the stapler, it goes up and down. It kind of reminds me of an alligator eating its food, right? Or a bird pecking. And then what does the sharp staples remind you of? So like if I take out a staple from here and show you on the camera, it reminds me of teeth. That is why I think it's compared to an alligator, because it has sharp teeth as well. we're going to take the ideas that I just generated about my stapler, okay, and I'm going to create a poem, okay? So I'm going to start off by saying a stapler is, and as you notice, I have a and is in red because I'm going to be using those two to compare my stapler to something else. So a stapler is an alligator. I had 3 ideas and I chose one. And I'm going to continue my poem to show how a stapler is like an alligator. It has a long mouth, sharp teeth, chomp, chomp. It can bite. Now I'm going to also think about rereading my poem to make sure it makes sense to what I'm comparing. A stapler is an alligator. Long mouth, sharp teeth, chomp, chomp. I'm using some automatopoeia in there. And it can bite. I think that I'm missing one thing about my poem, and that is my title. And I'm going to name this Look Out, because I'm talking about my stapler being an alligator, right? We have to look out for alligators. So, Look Out is the title of my poem. A stapler is an alligator, long mouth, sharp teeth, chomp, chomp. It can bite. I think that I am happy with my poem. I used my ideas and things about the questions that I thought about to build my poem to compare my stapler with another thing, which is an alligator. Now it's your turn. You're going to write your poem about an object, okay, by using a metaphor today. When you're grabbing something from your home that you're going to write about, please choose an item that is safe for you to grab. Please ask your adult for permission to use it. Don't go ahead and grab a knife or things that you can cut yourself with. Grab an object that you can put down, analyze, look at it, and be safe. Okay? Remember to begin your poem with the words a blank is blank, and don't forget to write a title for your poem. Use your word wall if you need help solving some tricky words. Friends, nice job today. Make sure that you are doing your writing and take a picture of it by the end of the week.